CIA top-secret project, time travel to find future U.S. president. We live in a tumultuous time, when the chemical and atomic weapons that humans are trying to develop threaten our very existence. It also jeopardizes the lines of time and space in the universe. If you are a fan of the superhero series, you must have seen the Loki movie that Marvel recently released about the topic of time travel. In the movie, the TVAs easily go back to the past as well as go to the future to hunt down the variants, who upset the timeline and spawn other realities. You think that story is just a fantasy in the movies. But no. There is a famous American lawyer named Andrew Basiago who claims he was once used in advanced technology to time travel in a top-secret CIA project. The Pegasus Project. Traveling through time from the portal to another dimension is no longer a strange and new topic, or only exists in mystical stories, science fiction anymore. Even famous scientists like Einstein or Stephen Hawking believe in the possibility of time travel. There are skeptics, whether there is any truth in the ability to move people to a faraway place by will alone, and even be able to move them to another dimension of time. But there are quite a few people who support this theory because they simply think that it is possible or that someone has been on a similar journey. A typical example is the strange case of Dr. Andrew Basiago, who used to participate in the U.S. government's top-secret trans-space program. The Pegasus Project. According to Mr. Basiago, from 1962 to 1972 was the period of the Cold War between the two leading world powers, the US and the Soviet Union. So the US government has focused on racing to conquer space. Pressure is on DARPA, the agency directing advanced defense research projects, under the US Department of Defense. Responsible for developing new, advanced technologies for military use. The goal of DARPA was to ensure the military technological superiority of the U.S. military over its Soviet adversary. Thus, a top-secret project called Pegasus was officially born, built on Nikola Tesla's approach to quantum theory, leading to the successful development of a number of advanced technologies, for teleportation through three-dimensional space. Dr. Andrew Basiago revealed that the CIA was actively training children to be the first generation for spacetime expeditions. The experimental mission of the young group is to contact the late U.S. presidents, travel to Mars and connect with extraterrestrial entities. Why did the CIA choose children over adults? According to Dr. Basiago, these are the ideal candidates for this mission, because young children's psychology is less impressed by experiences. The U.S. government has been concerned about the effects of time travel on the bodies and minds of adults, as they are prone to insanity and madness. Fortunately, innocent children have little life experience, so the harm of experiments is greatly reduced. When Basiago went on his first voyage, he said that his father worked for many years at Curtiss-Wright in New Jersey, where he was first exposed to the space portal, which he would later use to teleport time and space. The Chronovision, time machine. He said he was initially selected to help conduct an experiment using wormhole technology, a part of theoretical physics that has the ability to travel through space, allowing it to travel through vast distances in space. Quick. Or go through the current time itself. According to Basiago, the Chronovision with its plasma confinement feature brought him to Gettysburg in 1863. The space portal as described by Basiago has latent and penetrating energy in the universe, accessible through a machine consisting of two gray elliptical fence gates, approximately 8 feet high, 10 feet wide. Once activated, the time machine creates a tunnel vortex from radiant energy, capable of warping time. This technology was invented by the brilliant scientist Nikola Tesla. He is a legendary pioneering scientist in the field of electrical and mechanical engineering. And one of his discoveries was quantum energy. As soon as Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the CIA seized quite a few documents about teleportation technology in his apartment in New York. Dr. Basiago recounts that the participants of the Pegasus Project entered the energy quantum region. They all had a common sense of being inside a vortex tunnel, before being transported to their intended destination. Travel to the past in search of the future U.S. president. Dr. Basiago is believed to be part of the group of children used in the Pegasus Project. Another important function of the project, he said, is to identify future presidents and allow the CIA the opportunity to capture biographies of future leaders. In 2016, time traveler Basiago made an unbelievable statement when asked, "Who will win the race for the White House between two candidates Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump? As for Hillary Clinton, I have no data. I speculated that if selected as future president, she would have to have a pre-existing ID for her. As for Trump, I have a vague recollection that my father made a special note of Trump during his appearance on the Phil Donahue Show, and may have remarked that he was a future U.S. president." During the first time travel test in 1970, Basiago was taken to Albuquerque in New Mexico, and was present at a luncheon. There he met father and son George Herbert Walker Bush, George Walker Bush and Bill Clinton. And he was informed that they would be the future president of the United States. In an instant, Basiago returned to the room where the boy performed the experiment. A woman instructs the children to practice many times, by traveling into the radiant energy field for just a few minutes to get used to the feeling. On subsequent trials, Basiago claimed he had been chosen to visit Gettysburg in 1863, just minutes before President Abraham Lincoln gave his opening speech to the American Civil War. He was also present at General George Washington's barracks during the American Revolutionary War. And Basiago even entered the era when Jesus preached. Dr. Basiago revealed that the CIA wanted to check the authenticity of these three historical events, and in fact they collected a lot of data through children participating in the quantum transfer experiment, including Basiago. Basiago himself did not know that he had traveled through space. And only when he saw the photo taken in 1863 did he realize that his image at the age of 10 was the child standing in the middle of the eye looking to the left in the picture. Meanwhile, the timing of the experiment took place in the spring of 1972 at the Plasma Confinement Laboratory in East Hanover, New Jersey, under the direction of Dr. Sterling Colgate. This doctor passed away in 2013. Basiago reports that, while at the famous Gettysburg site, he lost his shoes, was barefoot, and an outdated suit before entering the Union store to choose a cornet uniform. Dressed like the members of the Confederate Army's Honor Guard. And he bought the only oversized men's shoe left in the store. He said, "I walked about 100 paces to where I was photographed by photographer Josephine Cogg, a photograph of President Lincoln's ceremony at Gettysburg. I am the boy in this photo." In addition, Basiago said he went to the Ford Theater on the night of President Lincoln's assassination 5 to 6 times. But did not witness the assassination. "Once I was on stage when the president was shot and I heard gunfire. Then a loud noise came from the crowd. It was horrible to hear guns. And because he teleports to the past many times, at times he even encounters versions of himself during those travels. I have met myself twice on 2 different occasions. I was transported back in time to the same place and time in 1865, but from different starting times in the present. That allowed 2 different people of my own to be at the Ford Theater at the same time in 1865. After 2 encounters with myself occurred, I was worried my versions might blow up. Not like the teleport to the Gettysburg landmark. At the time, I was holding a letter to Secretary of the Navy Gideon Welles, term 1861 to 1869, to offer my assistance in the event of my arrest. This time, I didn't have any explanatory material when I was sent to the Ford Theater. This led Basiago to conclude that the technology used for the Pegasus Project would have incalculable consequences if the U.S. government decided to regularly use it for time travel. He also believes that what the U.S. government has achieved in this program is not only to warp space and time, but also create a different reality for the timeline. The children who participated in the experiment not only traveled to the past, but were also transported to the future, Basiago said. Basiago says he also traveled to the year 2045, where he was transported to a building made of emerald and tungsten steel. There he was given a miniature canister of microfilm to be brought back to the 70s, which contained a wealth of knowledge of every historical event up until then. Basiago claims that in 1971 he was shown images of the 2001 attack on the Twin Towers. Images of smoke columns and collapsed buildings from the future were brought back to that time for analysis. Collect, evaluate. For the U.S. government, the use of quantum technology is also a means of political control. Running for U.S. president. You may have heard about Basiago not too long ago, when he made waves in the media claiming Barack Obama had been a part of the same teleportation time travel program as he. This even solicited a response from the White House, which adamantly denied the claim, though Basiago maintains his position. He has future knowledge that sometime between now and 2028, he will either be elected president or vice president. He says this information was divulged to him from members with career associations in the CIA. In the 2016 election, Basiago unfortunately didn't make it past the primaries. Basiago was unable to get his name on the ballot in all 50 states due to the exorbitant cost of running in a presidential election. He says it would have cost $5 million and he couldn't come up with the money, therefore he ran as an independent, write-in candidate. Basiago has about 7 years left to fulfill his prophecy of achieving one of the 2 highest positions in the White House. Unlike other candidates, Basiago has posted a very detailed layout of his presidential platform and the 100 policies he intends to enact once he is elected. These unwavering guidelines promise to usher in a new era of truth, reform, and innovation in America. Much of this platform is predicated on progressive policies like investing in public education, green energy, net neutrality, and religious tolerance. Judging his candidacy on these aspects alone, he might fit in with most far-left, progressive ideologies. Though, the primary pillars of his candidacy are set on revealing what he believes to be government's biggest secret: time travel. The first measure Basiago might enact upon taking office: declassify and reveal all technology related to quantum transportation and America's history of time travel technology. This would include the chronovisor, the holographic teleportation machine he says he used to speak to George Washington. Although he says time travel for every citizen would create a universe way too chaotic, Basiago believes everyone should have access to teleportation. It would solve many of our transportation shortcomings. Next up, presidential honesty. Basiago wants all former presidents who are still alive to come forth and admit they were given previous knowledge of their destinies. They all knew they were picked specifically to become president, so it's time for them to come clean. Why would the government keep time travel and teleportation a secret? Basiago said, they weaponized teleportation to use it to put troops precisely where they were needed on the battlefield. Ellipsis. They wanted a technology that would allow, let's say, 20,000 Marines at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina just streaming through teleporters and landing right at the battlefront. These technologies were also viewed as socially and economically disruptive. They would replace entire industries. Think of all the jobs that exist just in the automobile sector. I just recognize that the truth ultimately prevails. I recognize that some people view me as a liar, or as crazy, or they're envious that they were not involved. But I'm simply sharing what happened to me. I'll get a certain amount of disbelievers, but I'll also get a certain number of believers. According to Basiago, the use of atomic weapons creates a tear in the fabric of spacetime, of which there is nothing worse we could be doing to the universe in the eyes of extraterrestrial civilizations. Could Basiago really have time traveled throughout history via a clandestine government program called Project Pegasus? We may never know. But in today's political climate, there have been a number of unforeseen revelations and disclosures that might have seemed absurd in the past. This information also closes our video for today. Do you believe in the existence of time travel? Leave a comment to let us know. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye and see you again.